Alright, howdy folks, it's your boy Big Dog here again with another TV repair. This here is a Samsung 60-inch LED TV. The model number on this set is UN60FH Frank Henry FH6200. And the problem that we get with this set is that we can turn it on. We do have backlights, but we have absolutely no display. Okay, in most cases, a lot of cases, it's a T-con board or main board or the driver boards or the panel. So basically this video I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot it step by step, and I'll save you guys a lot of wasted money on buying T-con boards and when it's actually not. But I'm just going to show you what happens here when I turn the power on. As a matter of fact, I'm going to hit the lights first. Okay, that way you can see what's going on. I hit the power on here. So we'll hit the power, screen lit up, and you probably still can't see it, but the actual screen is lit. Well, that's a lot of light coming through there. The actual screen is lit. Does have backlights. I can actually look through the side, through the back panel, and I can tell that the backlights are lit. But when I hit this button here, I get absolutely no display. You can hear it. It is on. Right. Okay. And this one uses the little one button toggle button up underneath. I also have a remote. I can actually hear it. Get a little closer look at the model number of the TV here. Okay, UN60 Frank Henry 6200F. Okay, version number is HH01. And on this one, we're just going to disassemble it. If you probably ran across the set before, you should know. If not, first thing I'm going to do is remove the back cover. Okay, and then we also have to remove the outer back cover or the outer back bezel, whatever you want to call it, and remove the stand. Because on this set, the actual T-con board or timer control board is located right here, right in the back of this stand mount. Okay. Another very important thing I want to mention about this TV is that once you take off the stand, which is located right here, remove the 4 screws from the stand, and it will slide right out, the entire stand assembly. There are 4 screws located in each one of these holes. Okay, remember which these screws are actually connected to the metal shield that goes over the T-con board. And basically what all that does is support the TV on the stand. If you don't put these screws back in here, the TV, once you put the stand on it, the TV will be dipped over like it's going to fall. Okay, you're going to be like, man, what happened? You know, but these screws here are very important. Voila. Make sure you get all those, okay? Okay, we got all the screws out. This is the inner cover. This is the outer cover. Make sure you do remove the inner cover first. There are only like a few screws. Once you get those out, don't forget about the screw right here on the AV jack, by the jack inputs. Take a little something. I've got this little prior here. Just kind of pry it up a little bit, and that'll come right off. Okay. And then once you get that off, like I said, you can, however you want to do it, just make sure that comes off first. Take the screws around the outer bezel here. There are a little more. Matter of fact, I still got one in here. Thought I had them all off. Okay, now I'm going to pull this up. And just so you know, see if I can zoom in right here. also very important, what can get you into trouble here, is this is the connector right here, which goes to the Wi-Fi module right here. Make sure you disconnect that. Okay, that is connected to the outer back cover. Okay, and this is a smart television, so that's for the Wi-Fi. And I'm just going to give you a little, if I can zoom out here, let's see. That's the Wi-Fi module right here. Okay, so definitely make sure that you plug this back in when you are reassembling the TV. Otherwise, the customer's going to call and say, "Hey, man, my internet's not working." And you're going to say like, "Well, I don't have nothing to do with that. I just changed the LEDs in it or whatever, or T-Con board, right?" So definitely make sure you put that back, because you will have a customer calling you, and you will be like, "Okay, what's going on?" This is because you forgot to plug the Wi-Fi module in. No big deal, right? Okay. So now we definitely have to remove. This is the metal shield. The T-Con board is located up underneath, so we'll just remove these 4 screws, and we'll be on our way to troubleshooting. Okay, we have our shield taken off of our T-Con board here. Okay, as you can see, just power supply board, main board, main signal board, and then the timing control board, or T-Con for short, right? Now, the first thing that I want to check on a TV that has a T-Con board with a backlight but no display, no inputs, no volume bar on the screen, nothing comes up at all. Okay, that's a sign. That's just a symptom of a no display. Okay, which in most cases is a T-Con board or its associated circuits. The first thing that I do is there's always a fuse for the 12 volts that's coming from the main board to power up the T-Con board. Okay, and in this case, the fuse is located right here. See, I can't see that. I think it's like looks like 2 amps or something. I'm not sure, but the fuse is right here. We're just going to check that right fast and make sure it's not open. Okay, as you can see, that is good. Alright, so the fuse is good. The next thing that we're going to check is make sure that we have our 12 volts. In 95 or 99% of the T-Con boards, they use 12 volts, okay, to power up the T-Con board and its circuits. And I want to make sure that we have 12 volts going across the fuse. Okay? So we'll just ground our meter here. Put it on voltage. You can use anything that's metal on here. Just go right here. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and fire my setup. Plug it in. Okay. As you can see, backlights came up. Backlights are on. Okay. Okay, got 12 volts. 12 volts. Okay. So we do have our voltage supplied to the T-Con board. Now, this is the most important step in isolating whether it's a T-Con board or it's the actual panel, which these ribbon cables are going to the actual screen part, or the driver boards, which are located on the bottom. I think those are called sources and gate drivers. I'm not sure. One is for up and down, and the other one is addressed the pixels from left to right. Okay, but this is a very important step here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in, okay, to our LDVS cable connector. Okay. Okay. Now, if you see, look at the end here. Okay. This is coming from the main board, of course. You should get some. They're producing the signal for the T-Con board. Okay. It's a 32-bit signal or 16-bit signal, depends on what kind of TV it is. You should have some voltage anywhere between 1.1 and 2 volts or even 3 volts coming in from the main board. And so you want to make sure that you actually have a signal to produce a picture. Okay, so we've got our VCC voltage, and want to make sure that we can have a signal. We don't have a scope, so we're gonna have to use our meter here. Okay, put it on our DC volts, and let me zoom out a little bit here. Oops. And what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to, in most cases, they'll have a bunch of resistors right here. So it's my resistors, and you should have some voltage on those, and that'll let you know that you are actually getting signal produced from the main board going to the TCON board. Okay, and actually how this works is the signal comes in. Usually the big chip on the TCON board is called a TCON chip, and the TCON chip actually takes that small signal and produces a larger signal to drive the panel. Okay, simple as that. Okay, so make sure that we have a small signal coming in and just measure voltage. Let's see, I'm going to go right here. Okay, got 3.2 volts there. Let me zoom out so you can see it. Okay, see my meter at least. Okay, come on, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Come on down. There we go. Come on down, camera. Come on up, come on down, come on up, come on up. There we go. Okay, that's about right there. Okay. Once again, we'll go to these resistors here. .1 volts there. 3.2 volts there. Okay, which is pretty good. Okay. So as long as we have something coming in on most of these little resistors here, we definitely should be okay. Oops. Okay, I wish. 3.2 again. Going to again. Okay. Okay, that's fairly good enough. .5 there. Okay, good enough. So we do have a signal coming from the main board to the TCON board. We do have the processed or unprocessed signal. In most cases, you are going to have some, in most cases it's usually not going to be the main board with no display problem. It's going to be either the TCON board or something associated with the actual LCD panel. Okay, so just want to make sure that we do have something coming in. I can feel this chip here. It actually is warm, so it lets me know that that is working. Okay, that's another good sign as far as this is concerned with the LDVS cable, the main board. Now, what we actually want to do is our next step. We actually want to go down to the bottom, okay? And we want to make sure now at the bottom here, where the actual ribbon connectors are going to the panel, as you can see, there are dozens of test points on each one of the cables here. Okay, all those little dots there. Got some there, okay? And on the other cable, as you can see, all those little test point dots right here. These little dots are these little solder dots or silver dots are actually test points. Okay, so just like before, we want to make sure that we have put our meter on DC volts, leave it on DC volts. We want to make sure that we have around 1.2 to 1.8 volts. Okay, for the signal, and you should also have some voltage for the voltage to actually drive the driver boards, which are connected to the panel up underneath here. Okay, you're gonna have VCC. You might get like 30 volts. You're gonna have a couple pins. Well, most pins are gonna be between 1.1 and 1.7 volts, and then you're gonna have a few pins that say like 6 volts, 9 volts, 30 volts. Okay, so those should be present. If you don't have anything down there, and you got something up here, you got input, but you don't have any output going past the TCON processor going into the actual panel, okay? If If you don't have any output, then you know you most likely have a bad T-con board, okay? But I'm going to show you a little trick here. As you can see, I'm going to start over here. Let me put my Superman glasses on so I can see. I really want to short anything out because actually that's what, I'll tell you a little secret what actually happened with this set, what I was doing. Probably good if you get some little, hello. This is a little bit here. I hate this camera. I want to give me one of those remote control cameras, so I ain't messing with this thing anymore. Okay. I'm just gonna zoom out there just so you can actually see my meter. Okay. Now we should be in business. Okay. I'm gonna go to these little test points down here. Okay. As you can see, there's nothing there. That's millivolts, okay? Nothing there, millivolts. Nothing there, millivolts. Millivolts. So just kind of check pretty much most of them. As you see, I don't have anything there. On these test points at all. They're all, you know, below 0.1 volts or whatever. It's well, actually that would be 0.6 volts, but yeah, they're actually below 1 volt. But there's nothing. Like I said, these should be approximately around 1.2, 1.6, 1.8 volts. You should be getting on most of the pins. And I'm gonna go over here to the other side also. Let's see. I'll check the other side. If there's nothing there, it's probably not gonna be anything on the other side either. Okay, as you can see, nothing there, nothing there. Okay, so we don't have anything on these pins here. Now, don't let that fool you. Okay. The next thing you want to do, we're going to do a little check as soon as I answer my phone. Call back. I want to check to make sure that it's not the panel in 1 second. Okay. Alright, so I know we have a bad T-con board here. I did, of course, check the voltages on the output side of the panel. I'm sorry, of the output side of the T-con board at the bottom there, and they never came back up. Actually, what happened with this set is I was changing the LEDs. And when I actually went to, you know, just before I put the screen and everything back on the TV, I actually, you know, check it, turn it on, because you know the power supply and everything is still connected in the back, and just make sure that the LEDs lit up, and they did. But unfortunately, I had these still on the T-con board, and I had disconnected the bottom part right here. And what happened was the bottom part actually touched the metal chassis and shorted something out on the T-con board, which you know, I still make mistakes, but you know, it's something that it's a lesson learned. Just be careful next time. And what I actually do now is to make sure, because of course there was still voltage coming out of the T-con board because it was working. What I do to be sure, I always disconnect whenever I'm changing the LEDs, and when I fire test it up after I change it, I disconnect it from right here from the main board. That way I can be sure that there's no voltage coming through this line at all. Okay? Or you can just, you know, leave these like they are right now on the driver board at the bottom, and disconnect it from the T-con board that way, because that way there's no voltage, you know, on here, of course, because these are all inputs to the panel. But that's what happened. So there is a video for a naturally a natural TCON board failure. Okay, man was man-made, but there is a video on YouTube. My buddy in California, NorCal, actually has a video on most likely cause of the culprit is this, and he shows you how to change it and everything. Like I said, you can test the components around here if you're pretty sure it's a TCON board after you go through all the steps. And you can test like these little surface mount transistors, these little regulated chips. But me myself, I prefer to just go ahead and change the whole board. Save me a lot of troubleshooting time. So I do have another board just like that. Here is the part number. If I can zoom in on it. It's a BN96-28943 alpha. Okay, and we'll go ahead and replace this board here, and we'll do some checks and to see which it's supposed to have. Okay. Okay, we've got our new TCON board installed here, and once again, I'm not going to go through the input side of the LDVS cable because we know we should be good there. I'm just going to go right to the bottom, the output side of this TCON board on those little test points, once again, which are located on both sides here, and also this connector here. These little, once again, these little silver dots you see are test points. Okay, and we're just going to show you that the voltage actually does come up. Everything is connected. Both panel drivers are connected. Main board's connected. Okay, TV is on. We got backlight here. Okay, and let's see what we got here. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, good enough. So let's just start right over here. Well, 1.1. Didn't have that before. 1.2 there. Okay. We can go over here. I'm gonna hold my hand steady. 1.2. Okay. Okay. 1.3. Okay. So that shows us that now the TCON board is good. We are getting output voltages going to the panel. Okay, so that's pretty much about it. I'm going to go ahead and put it back together, turn it around, show you that it's working. Okay, once again, before I go ahead and complete the process of putting the stand on, I just do want to remind you once again to make sure that you connect the Wi-Fi module back to the main board. The Wi-Fi module is right here on the back cover. Inside, it's attached to this back cover. So make sure that you put the wire back onto the main board. Okay, otherwise you're going to have some unwanted phone calls. And also, another thing I want to stress, if the TV does have the stand, whether it does or not, you just want to make sure that you put these 4 screws back in these holes here, because this is what's going to support the stand, okay, when you put it on there, because that is actually going to the shield on the TCON board, and that's going to support the stand if you use a stand. Okay, the TV uses a stand. Otherwise, you're going to have a little slight lean forward, and it's going to look like it's going to fall over. Okay. Okay. As you can see, we do have our 60-inch Samsung working. Got display, we've got menu, So everything's back in order. I'm going to show you another tip on our T-Con boards. This is a T-Con board with actually a different problem. See if I can zoom in here. Okay, this is actually a T-Con board out of a, I believe, a 55-inch curved Samsung 4K. As you can see, it's really the only difference from stuff on the main board. And the T-Con board, of course, is much bigger. It has more bits, has more connections going to the actual panel below. As you can see, pretty much same thing. Test points for the output right here on the bottom here on each connector. Okay, and then we also have some nice test points on the input, which is actually coming from these two connectors here, actually coming from the main board. Okay, but this one is a little different. The TV actually has the same symptom, backlight with no display, no on-screen display at all, no picture, no nothing, just a blank lit screen. And so, like I said in the previous video, the first thing that we will actually check are the fuses. Or well, the fuse, but this one actually has two fuses. Okay, so check this out here. As you can see, there's one here and there's one there. One, of course, is for the 12 volts. And well, I guess they do have two different 12 volt supplies. So I'm just assuming that. Let me just zoom out here a little bit. Okay. Get this situated right here so you can see. Okay. Alright, so we're going to check this first fuse here. That is good. Okay. Now the second fuse here. Uh-oh. Okay. That, of course, is definitely open. Good. This one's open. Okay, that is definitely an open fuse. Okay, it's just picking up a reading from the circuit that it's in. But it's supposed to be a dead short, 0 ohms. Okay? Of course, you know that already, right? But well, a lot of technicians will make a mistake and assume that I'll just pop another fuse in there, and maybe that's the only problem with it. It's just a fuse blew out. So they'll put a fuse. They'll put a fuse in there, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to see something smoke on the main board because the one step that you forgot to take was to check for a short. Okay, on both sides of the fuse. Now there should never be a fuse that's going straight to ground. Okay, I've never seen that, and there never will be make a fuse going to ground. I wouldn't think, but. As you can see, these on the edge here where the screws go in to the TV, this is all ground here. Okay, and so far, so what we just do is we just take one of our leads, go to ground, and check both sides of that fuse. Okay. Okay, seems to be okay on that side, and then the other side, because remember it's open. Okay, we have a dead short. Okay, so that's why the fuse blew out. Okay, so you don't want to replace a fuse into a shorter circuit thinking, well, you know, it might work. Otherwise, you may do some damage to the main board. That happened to me some years ago when I found out. Okay, how to check it, and yeah, I actually had to buy a main board also for the customer, which is my fault. If you do have a short, you can start checking components. What I did do is I checked this diode here, okay, right up under there. Okay, that's also reading a short. I did pull the diode out, and the diode was actually good, and I still read a short. And so I did check a few other components, but after I didn't find anything specific, I'll just go ahead and order the main board. I'm sorry, the T-Con board. It was less than $100, so you know, 4K TV. So you know, it's you know, I mean, you got to think about, you know, how much time you're going to spend, you know, trying to troubleshoot it. If you don't have a schematic, you just want to go around testing stuff, and and then how much time you're just gonna just order the board when it comes in, put it in, and be done with the set. But that goes really for any type of board with an open fuse. You do want to check both sides of the fuse to ground to make sure that there is no short on that particular line. And I'm going to give you an example here. Let's see, I've got a power supply board here. Same thing here. I do have a blown fuse right there. Only thing about a power supply board is you have to make sure that you're either in, if the fuse is in hot ground, which is, of course, the AC fuse is always in hot ground, or cold ground, okay, which would be this fuse right here. Okay, now usually the boards are separated, I will believe. Let me see how this one's going here. No, actually that fuse is in hot ground. Actually, it looks like. Okay, but anyway, if you're in a hot ground situation with a fuse blown, okay, which is most likely your primary side of your power supply board, all you have to do is just take a find the hot ground. Usually on a power supply board, your hot ground is going to be on the negative side of these big filter capacitors. Okay, so of course make sure that you discharge it first. I'm pretty sure this one's discharged, but sitting up under my bench for a while. Okay, and we'll go to the negative side of the capacitor. Same deal. And we'll go to each side of that. See how black the fuse is actually black. I'm not sure if I replaced this fuse or put the old. I'm not sure, but it's just shaking it like that. Okay. If you don't have a short, it probably won't hurt if you go ahead and replace the fuse. Make sure it's the same value or lower. This one here, do the same thing. Check both sides to ground. If you don't know if that's hot ground, not just go to regular ground, which would be make sure we're on the secondary side, which is most likely over here by our output stage plug going to our main board. We'll just go here to ground there and check it again, double check the fuse again. Make sure there's no short on either side of an open fuse. Okay, well, that's it, guys. Hope you learned a lot. Please subscribe, give me a like, give me a comment. I appreciate all you guys' comments. I do like to re-comment on all my comments, but a lot of times that I'd be kind of busy and going through some things. But hey, I really appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. God bless you. Please subscribe, and I'll holler at you later. Big Dog out.